So this is a relatively new form for me, and in setting up the pieces yesterday for this demonstration, I had one of those aha things, and we're back to not fussing. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to draw a vertical line up after I actually begin altering the form. So I'm taking my finger and I'm pushing it in. And I'm beginning that first part, changing the form. I'm going to draw my finger upward. Going to the other side because you have the advantage of the wheel head pins. So I've made half of my form change, and then I'm just going to make a rough guess.
So are you just cutting it into that, or are you actually pushing that in a little bit to change the shape?
I'm dragging it in, and then I'm going to look at it from on top. I'm going to have dry hands, and I'm going to, hopefully, come on, lift up. And make it more elongated. So that's generally what I'm left with. And I'll come back and do a little bit. This is a little on the soft side, so I didn't get it as structured a form. But and I'm going to throw the top section, and I'll have to talk you through. Some of it will have to be somewhat virtual with the time left. This is really critical. Weighing clay becomes one of those things where you learn over time what you can get out of a pound of clay, or 12 ounces of clay, or whatever it is, and it matters quite a bit in terms of sometimes you wrestle with too much clay more than you do with too little. I need to throw that dimension. And this is going to be bottomless. I'm going to pull out a ring. And anytime you do this, anytime you pull clay out like this, you've got to give a certain amount of pressure down because you're constantly re-sticking the clay to the bath. I want to make sure it's at least that dimension. And then I'm going to throw this clay inward. And this is what's going to be the shoulder, basically, of the teapot. So I'm throwing this inward. I would try to stay right-handed for as long as I possibly could. And again, I'm doing most of the work with my thumbnail. And I'm not going to labor on this because of time. But it's surprising when you see that coil of clay out there that you end up getting this much back in out of that clay. But I'm impressed every time I do it.
1 pound, was that 1 pound?
1 pound. And I'm really pretty specific about weighing that, so. And everybody's got their little, their own little individual things that they use, but for anybody who's played with clay for very long, then you start to realize that these things are absolutely incredible tools of measurement. And it's like just how much clay you grab off when you go down to your second joint and that sort of thing.
If you're doing a bunch of these, do you, after you get it all thrown, I'm assuming you throw all the parts at once? And then do you build a complete teapot and go to the next one, or do you put them together?
It depends. Actually, I would like to say yes, but I do them one at a time. But what you more often find yourself doing is you're working on one and you're saying, I got this together, but it isn't ready to put the spout on or something like that.
So you may have body parts all over your studio.
May have body parts. And then back to timing, which I think this is such an incredible process about timing, catching things at the right time. I had such a good sense when my studio was in the basement that I knew that I threw the bodies to teapots one day, I made the spouts on another day, made the spouts in the morning, laid plastic over the tips of the spouts by sometime in the afternoon. They were perfectly ready to go on. Those things you kind of learn and teach yourself. And then, new studio space. I've been in there 2 years and can't figure out what's going on in that space. Same thing would be true in here. Somebody leaves the door open, and all of a sudden you got phantom breezes racing all over the walls and that sort of thing, and you can't count on that.
So do you miss the stairs in your new studio?
No. My studio was in my basement, and it was up 30 stairs from the street and then downstairs, and I was getting tired of hearing clay. And I did recently turn 65, so I'm on a new thing, and I'm going to approach clay art about 35-pound boxes and 17.5-pound bags. And this is.
And you get a senior discount if you buy it that way.
I bought a ton of clay one time, moved it all down to my basement studio, made a bunch of pots, fired a kiln house. It was shivering, the legs were shivering all left and right. I called the clay company, no place at all.
Oh,
And I said, are you gonna come out here and help load it back out of my? I had to take the ton back up the stairs, take it back to Chicago. Traded it. Anyway, it was.
Okay, with the time left, we're going to skip probably some really crucial steps.
So did you
Feel
throw the bottom?
necessity to do that. There just might be some people that leave, but I think you should take your time and
Okay.
show what you want to show on your own.
Yeah, the other part is equally important.
Yeah, I just want to see that part.
Some of us want to see this part.
The crucial.
That like leaving out that one ingredient from your favorite.
Don, how do you treat the bottom of your top?
How do you treat the bottom of it after you throw it? So you go back and trim it?
Hurrying right along. We'll get there. So there it is, okay, and there's what the top looks like. I'm going to throw out a disc of clay. You can do a slab, but a disc works well for me. I mean, this is just simply one of those things. I have a slab roller. I do use it. In fact, I should say this kind of quietly. A friend of mine named Dale Pendergrass had welding skills many years ago.